Hi and welcome to Inbound Explain. My name is Shannon, and in today's video, we're going to be reviewing HubSpot's Sales Hub tool. We'll be looking at tools like sequences, templates, documents, and more. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started with actually looking at the different tools within Sales Hub, I actually want to review two things that you should have set up within your Sales Pro to make sure that you can use this tool more effectively and efficiently. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go over to your settings, and in the general page, go over to where it says email and make sure that your personal, or more ideally your work email, is connected to your HubSpot. Once you press this button, your email provider will walk you through the next steps, but you want to make sure that you connect your email to HubSpot. And additionally, you want to scroll down on this page and make sure you download the email extension as well. This is really beneficial because it allows you to use some HubSpot tools like templates or sequences or snippets within your own email tool without even having to go into HubSpot. If you download this sales extension, you'll also be able to track emails, see if people have opened up your email, and more. So I really recommend that before you even get started with Sales Hub, if you haven't already connected your email and downloaded the email extension, I recommend that you go ahead and do that. Kind of along the same lines, I also recommend that you set up your meetings pages within HubSpot as well. So if you go up here to where it says sales and then click on meetings, you can actually set up these different meeting options that people can use to create a meeting with you. It's really easy. All you have to do is go over to create scheduling pages, choose what kind of meeting you want to do. You have three different options. In this case, we'll just do one-on-one, but just know you also have group options if you want to have different if the meetings can be made with anybody on your team. And you also have round robin options, which automatically assign the meeting based off of certain parameters that you've already created. In this example though, let's just do a one-on-one meeting. Once you've done that, go ahead and give it a name. So the internal name could be, let's say, demo call, 15 minutes. Give it a title. This is the title that people will see when they create the meeting with you. So let's just say, let's do inbound, explain, demo. You can set the location. If you use Zoom or any video conference, you can go ahead and connect that app with HubSpot. Or additionally, you can just go ahead and add in the link to the video call in the description box if you want to do that as well. Or to tell people where they'll be meeting you, rather, in the description box. You can add in the different time options. In this example, let's say we're only going to do a 15-minute demo, and you can set up the different times that you are willing to have a schedule be put on your calendar. So don't think about it in terms of when are you working. Think about it more so and in terms of what periods of time are you willing to have somebody else put a time onto your calendar. And you can choose them based off of different days. And you also have a few different options here if you want that as well. You can decide if you want people to receive a confirmation email once they've set up a meeting with you. And you can also decide if they want to receive a pre-meeting reminder. And once you do that, you can go ahead and you can create your scheduling page. Again, the point of this is just to have everything set up before we go ahead and look at the different tools within HubSpot. You'll be able to use this scheduling page or this meeting tool to send it out to people when you want to create a meeting with them. So it's just an easier way for them to find a time to meet with you, and it makes everything a lot faster without having to go back and forth and checking up on times. So before you get started with any of the HubSpot tools, I really recommend going ahead and connecting your email and setting up your meetings. So now that we've done the setup phase, let's go ahead and take a look at the different tools within Sales Hub. The first tool we're going to look at is the deals page. So what you want to do is go up to sales and then press deals. Now, this tool is super important. You may already be familiar with it if you've used HubSpot's free CRM. But if not, no worries. We're going to review everything you have here. Essentially, this tool is a visual representation of the deals and potential deals that you have going on within your business. You can track the different activity that each deal has had, and you can also track them as they move down along the buyer's journey. Let's take a look at everything that you have here, and then we'll talk about how you can customize the deals to work best for you. The first thing you should know is you can actually have more than one sales pipeline. As you see here, we have a few different examples. And down here, you can actually filter what you're looking at when you're looking at your sales pipeline here. Probably in a real use case scenario, you're going to have multiple team members using this sales pipeline. So if you want, you can organize the deals based off of who owns them. Right now, I'm the only one who has made these deals in this example pipeline. But if you have multiple team members, you could just type in the team member of the deal that you want to see. You can also filter the deals by the date that the deal was created. And you can also filter the deals by the last activity. So if you want to see deals that had activity last week, you can go ahead and filter it in that way as well, and by the amount. Then what you have here is you have the drag and drop area where you can move the deals along the buyer's journey. So let's say you have one deal that goes from the appointment being scheduled to you being able to qualify them as ready to buy. You can go ahead and just drag and drop the different deals as they move along the journey. Within each deal, you can click on the deal itself to see more information about it. You'll see all of the deal activity that has taken place with the specific deal, including when it was created, any email interaction that you've had with the lead or the contact within the deal. You also have a few different options here to track any attachments. So if you sent any emails that have a PDF or anything, you'll be able to see the attachment here. And if the deal is linked to a contact, you'll be able to see that here. Let's go to a deal that should have a contact attached to it. Let's look at this one. Yeah, so here you can see if the deal is attached to a contact, you can actually click here to get more information about the contact that you're looking at. And you can see information like the attachments that have been created. So you'll be able to see a lot of different important information in this activities panel. If you want to make notes about the deal, you can do that here. You can also directly call the deal directly from HubSpot as well. So you have a few different options when it comes to this area in this view. If you want to create a new deal, you can do that by going over to here where it says create deal. And HubSpot will guide you through the different pieces of information that you need to create the deal. In this case, let's just go ahead and call it inbound explained example. We want this deal to show up in our inbound explained pipeline. We can set the deal stage, so you can set it from the very first bucket that you already have set up, or we can also choose a different stage. So let's say, just for example's sake, that this example deal has the presentation scheduled. So that means once we're done creating the deal, they're going to show up in the presentation scheduled stage. You can add in an amount for the deal. Let's just go and say 5,000. The date that the deal was created, who owns the deal, so who on your team is going to be the one that's managing this deal. What's the deal type? Let's go ahead and say new business, and the priority of the deal. So if it's a high priority, low priority, or medium priority. You can also not choose to set a priority if you don't want to as well. Let's go ahead and just say high priority. And then this is where you can choose to associate the deal with certain contacts or companies. So if this deal is associated with a company, you can go ahead and search for them here. If there's a contact that you want to associate the deal with, you can also search for them here. Let's just go ahead and click that one. And then we can go ahead. If you want to create, if you're creating multiple deals at once, you can click create and add another. What this will do is HubSpot will go ahead and place this first deal you've just created in the stage that you indicated, and then you'll have all of this will be blank again so that you can go ahead and start creating your next deal. Or if that's it, you can just click create and it'll take you straight into the deal that you have just created. However, if you want to see that deal that you just created in the pipeline, all you have to do is go back into deals. And now you can see that this deal that we just created right now is in our presentation scheduled stage. So that's how you can create a deal. It's a super easy process. You also have the option within HubSpot to edit the different stages that you see here. In order to do that, all you have to do is go up into Board Actions and then click Edit Stages. Here's where you'll have the ability to change the different stages that you see. So for example, let's go ahead and add in a deal stage of, let's say we have a deal stage of form submitted. Let's say contact form submitted. So we'll create a deal stage. We'll only keep it at about 10%. And we're going to move that to be the very first stage that occurs. So once somebody submits a contact form, we can go ahead and create a deal for them, and we'll make that the initial stage. You can also edit the ones that have already been pre-created by HubSpot, and you can do that as well. You can also customize the way that you see the deals within your pipeline. So you have a few different options here. You can choose the different properties that are associated with the deal card. Automatically, you'll have the deal name, the close date, and the deal stage, but you have a few different customization options with this as well. And you can also choose how the properties are shown within each stage as well. So you have a few different ways to customize the deals so that it makes the most sense for how you and your team works. This is a really useful tool that we're going to be using a lot within Sales Hub. So I encourage you to just go ahead and kind of play around with it, test it out, see what your different options are, and that's how you'll get the most comfortable with this tool. So now you know how to create deals, but you probably need to be talking to them throughout the sales process. So let's look at a few different tools you have in HubSpot to more efficiently speak with your contacts and move them along the buyer journey. Let's go over to conversations, where you have a few different options here. Today we're going to be taking a look at snippets and templates. And first we'll go ahead and start with the snippets. Snippets are just small pieces of text that you can have pre-created within HubSpot that you can go ahead and add into any email that you're sending. I've already created an example one that we can look at together. Essentially, what this does is it allows you to quickly grab just some short piece of text by entering in a keyboard shortcut when you're writing the email. So in this example, our snippet name is Inbound Explain, and the piece of text that we have says, "Thank you for contacting Cyberclick. We'll be in touch with you shortly." You can go ahead and you can customize this text to say whatever you want. You can also add in personalization details. So for example, if you want this to be a first name, you could say, let's actually add it up here, but you could go ahead and you could say, let's type in first name, comma, "Thank you for contacting Cyberclick. We'll be in touch with you shortly." And then what this will do is when you go ahead and send this snippet, that first name will already be populated in. So let's go ahead and take a look at what a snippet looks like when you're actually using it. So in this example, we'll go ahead and just send out a test email. If you wanted to write an email to somebody using the snippet, all you would have to do is just type in the hashtag that you already set up. In this case, it would be "thank you." And you can just click here and the snippet will automatically be populated. The idea with the snippet is not that it would be the full email. Most likely you would just be using a snippet if it's like a piece of information that you are repeating often. So in this case, you could say, thank you for contacting Cyberclick. We'll be in touch with you shortly. And then if you need to add anything else to the message, you can already go ahead and add it in. You just don't have to type in the piece of text that you know that you always have to type in. You also have the option of creating a template, which is a longer piece of text, and something that you can also use within the sequences tool, which we'll review in just a second. So to create a template, you want to go to conversations and then templates. And then here's where you can create all of the templates that you want to use, both for templates that you'll just use in single emails and for sequences that you'll set up using the sales tool. So let's review how to actually create a sequence. So first you want to go over to new template and you want to either choose from scratch or from the template library. HubSpot has a lot of good resources and use case scenarios and examples of different types of templates that you want to use. So if you're not familiar with making templates, I encourage you to definitely go ahead and look through the template library. But for the sake of this example, we'll just go ahead and say from scratch. So the most important thing to keep in mind with templates and when you're creating templates is to think about it in the sense of, yes, technically with a template, you'll be sending out this template on a mass scale. Templates help you save time so that you don't have to write the same email over and over and over again. But when a user receives a template email, or let's say when a lead receives an email that you have sent using a template, the email looks like it was created in that moment in time, and it looks like it was a personalized email for them. So if you're familiar with HubSpot's marketing tools, and if you're familiar with marketing emails, think of it in this way, that the emails that you create under the marketing tab within HubSpot are marketing emails that are designed to look like marketing emails. They look like emails that have been sent out to a list, and they look like mass emails. The emails that you create in templates, although they are pre-made and although likely you will be using them to send out mass emails, they do not look like marketing emails and they do not look like mass sent emails. They look like emails that you, the salesperson, just wrote and you sat down in that moment and you sent it one-on-one to the person that's receiving the template email. So I always like to make that distinction because within HubSpot, you have a lot of different email tools, but it's important to be clear that your template emails are just one-on-one emails that appear rather to be one-on-one, and it looks like you just wrote them in the moment. So when you have the template email, when you're creating the template email, you have to give it a name. So let's just go ahead and call this Inbound Explained Example 1, and you have to give the email a subject. Remember to choose a subject that is engaging, that grabs people's attention, and something that people would want to click on. Using a first name is always a good option. So let's go ahead and actually personalize the subject so that it includes a first name. So you want to go up here to where it says personalized, and we'll just type in first name. And let's say first name, do you have time to chat? So now when the user or lead or contact that you're sending out this template email to, whenever they receive the email in their inbox, they'll see their first name, and then do you have time to chat? From here, then you want to go ahead and type out an email that you would be sending on a regular basis. So if you already have a type of email that you are sending out to all of your leads or all of your contacts, or let's say you have an email that you want to send out to people after they submit a form to be contacted, you can go ahead and write out that email here just as you would normally do it. Again, keep in mind, there's nothing fancy design-wise going on in this email. This email is supposed to look like you just sat down in that moment and wrote the email. So in this really quick example, we could just say, hi, first name. Let's go ahead and add in the first name again. Would you have time to talk about, here you can actually add in information about a company. So let's say that we want to add in information about their company. We could actually go over here and type, and get their company name. Do you have time to talk about contacts, companies' names, goals? So obviously in the email you write, you want it to make be a bit more personalized and make a bit more sense, but this just kind of shows you the different options you have within the personalization tools and when you make a template. So here we're saying, hi, so-and-so, would you have time to talk about XYZ's company's goals? In this email, we're trying to set up time, so we can also leave them your own meeting calendar. So we could say, let's say you can set up a time and we can make this link here a meeting calendar. So let's go ahead and add in your meeting link that we already set up when we set up our meeting link earlier. And the text we'll have displayed will just say here because we're doing it as part of that link. And we're already set up our meeting calendar in the beginning of this session. So if you set up your meeting calendar earlier, then you'll be able to grab it here. If you haven't set up your meeting link yet, you'll be able to also set it up here. HubSpot will take you to the next page to go ahead and set it up. If this template is a template that multiple members of your team will be using, then you can actually choose it to be the sender's meeting link. And then what'll happen is, say you have just 2 members on your team, yourself and let's say member A. Depending on who uses this template, HubSpot is smart enough to understand, okay, member A is sending out this email, so now we have to use member A's meeting link. If you're the only one that's going to be using this template, or if you're the only one that will be taking on this meeting, then you can just use your own meeting link. So now our email says, hi, first name. Would you have time to talk about XYZ's company's goals? You can set up a time to talk here. And then you want to add in just a little signature. So you could say best Shannon or whatever. Keep in mind your signature will also be included when you use the template. So if you haven't added in your signature within HubSpot, go ahead and do that as well. So now you can go ahead and save the template. You do have a few options. If you don't want anybody else to use this template, you can make it private so that only you are able to use it. And if you're organizing your templates in different folders, you can also do that as well. So let's go ahead and save this template. Now, the best thing about templates is you can actually use them in a bunch of different ways. So in this case, if you only are going to be sending out one email and you don't need to follow up with somebody, you can just create one template. But in the case that we've just done here, we're asking somebody if they have time to meet up with us. So we want to go ahead and create a follow-up email. If they don't get back to us about a time that works for them, we can use this follow-up email just to make sure that they've seen our email and just as a second touch point. So what we can do, and the reason that you want to make that second email is because you can use this first template and the second template, and you can actually use that in a sequence. So I recommend creating all of your templates before you go into the sequence tool. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to go ahead and create the second email just so you can see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and call it the Inbound Explained Example 2. And we can make our subject line something like, let's see, did you receive my last email? In this case, the subject line of this specific template isn't super important because I'm going to use this second template in a sequence. And because it'll be used in a sequence, it will appear underneath the first email that was sent out. But it's always good just to make sure you put in a subject line that is valuable anyways. If that's a little bit confusing now, it'll make a bit more sense when we look into the sequence tool. But just keep it in mind, if you're going to be using sequences, the subject line that you set in the first email will be the most important subject line. All right, so let's just go ahead and write a quick message. We can say something like, hi, let's add in the first name. Hi, first name. Did you receive my last email? Let's set up a time to chat. And we can go ahead and add the meeting link. Click the link here. And we're just going to go ahead and insert that meeting link. And you can do that there. Oops, I didn't set the text, so that's why it says 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and do that again. There we go. That looks better. All right, so again, I mean, this isn't a great email. This is just an example just to show you what the tool looks like. So now we have two templates. We have the first one and we have the second one. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the sequences tool, because this is really where templates shine when we talk about sequences. So to get to sequences, you're going to go to automation and then you'll go to sequences here. And what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and create a sequence. So go to create a sequence. Again, just like with the templates, HubSpot has a lot of really great examples of why you would want to create different sequences that you can do. So again, I really, really encourage you to go ahead and play with the tool, take a look at the examples that HubSpot has set up. But we already set up our template email, so let's just go ahead and start from scratch. So we'll do create sequence. Let's go ahead and give the sequence a name. So we'll call it inbound explained example. And now from here, we're going to go ahead and build out the steps. So if you're familiar with HubSpot's other automation tool, which is workflows, which is part of the marketing tools that HubSpot has, then sequences will come kind of natural to you. Sequences essentially are an automation tool that allows you to send out emails and follow-up emails without you having to manually follow up with leads and contacts. So, for example, in the example that we've created, we're asking somebody to set up a time to meet. So the sequence that we create will have a follow-up email asking somebody, if they don't respond to the first email, asking somebody, hey, did you see my email? Let's go ahead and set up a time to chat. The great thing about sequences is that it looks like you are there sitting down writing the email, but in fact, everything is actually all automated. Another great thing about sequences is that if somebody responds to an email within your sequence, the sequence will stop. So it will not continue going, which again just makes it look more natural and makes it appear that you are the one sitting down and writing the email. So how does a sequence work when we go into creating it? So the first thing we want to do is we want to add in the email template that we've already created in the last part of this tutorial. So go ahead and press the plus sign, and then you want to add in the email that you've already done. So you're going to click automated email, and then you're going to pull up the template that you just created. So ours was the inbound explain, and it's already popping up here. So we'll do this one. So now we can see the email that we created. We see the subject line, we see all the personalization we added, we see our meeting link, everything is already added in. This is the first email that somebody will receive from this template. From this sequence. So let's go ahead and add in our second email. And let's add in the second one that we've created. Now here you can go ahead and you can determine how many days do you want to wait before somebody receives the second email in your sequence? So let's say we want to wait 3 business days until somebody receives the second email. So what will happen is the person will receive this first email. The system will wait 3 days, and if they have not responded within those 3 days, then they'll get the second email. If you see here, this is what I was saying about the second template that we created. Because this email is going to be sent in the same thread that was created when we sent this first email, you don't have to worry about the subject line for the second email because everything will be threaded in. So you can go ahead and take a look at the email that you have set up here. Let's say that you're looking at the emails or the templates that you've already created and you see that you want to make any changes. To make any changes, you'll actually have to go back into the template tool and make any changes directly in the template. You cannot make the changes when you are setting up the sequences in this specific area. Now, if you do want to make changes to the sequence when you're sending it out to a contact, you can do that, but just know that if there's any general changes that you want to make to the templates in general, you have to make it in the templates tool. So I'll show you what it looks like when you actually send an email or a sequence to somebody, but just know if there's any like major big changes that you want to make to the template, you have to make it in the template tool. So finally, you actually have a few more options within the sequence tool beyond just sending out emails. If you have more templates, you can go ahead and add them into the sequence, but you also have a few different things as well related to task. So let's say at the end of the sequence, you haven't received a response yet from the lead or the contact that you're talking to. You can actually set up a few different tasks. So the first thing you can do is just create a task within HubSpot. You can add the title to the task, the type of task that you want it to do, the priority, and just write a note for yourself. So let's say that the title would be contact this lead, and you could write a note that said sequence completed. Talk to this lead. And then you can go ahead and add in that task, and you can say, okay, if the contact doesn't respond to our last email in the sequence, then go ahead and let's reach out to that contact in 3 days. Or you can also create a task to start a call. So it's kind of the same idea. And you can also do the task to create an email. So it's basically just a way for you to know that the sequence has been completed, and it's a reminder for you to then take the next action that needs to be done. Once you're happy with the steps that your sequence is going to take, you want to go over into settings, and then you have a few different things that you can choose. So the first is if you want the steps to be activated only on business days. Again, the idea behind sequences is that it looks like you are actually sitting down in the moment writing those emails. So I recommend that you keep this option on, that the emails are only sent on business days. But of course, this just depends on your different goals that you have. You can also choose if you want your follow-up emails to be threaded replies. Again, I recommend that you keep this option on as well, because again, the idea behind sequences is that you're following up in the moment on your own. This is all done manually, at least that's the illusion. So if you keep everything in the same thread, one, it's easier for the contact because they'll have all the information that you've already sent them right there. But it's also just looks more realistic as well. You can also set up the different times that the sequences go out. And you also have the option to set up any task email reminders as well. Finally, you have the unenrollment option. So this is the settings that you have to choose to decide how does somebody get unenrolled for a sequence. So if a contact replies to any of the emails, then they will get unenrolled from the sequence. If the contact schedules a meeting using the meeting calendar that you put in the template, then the contact will get unenrolled from the sequence. And if the contact replies to the email, you also have the option here to unenroll all the contacts at the same company. This just depends on, again, the specific goals that you have when creating the sequence. Once you review all the steps of your sequence, there's different settings that you've already set up, and whether you've reviewed how people will unenroll from your sequence, you can go ahead and press save, and then you'll have your sequence ready to be used. So let's take a look at what it looks like to actually use sequences within HubSpot. So I'm just going to go over here. And I already have the email tool pulled up rather. One thing I want to say before I show you what this looks like within HubSpot is to let you know that if you actually went ahead and connected your email in HubSpot and downloaded the email extension, then you'll actually be able to include sequences and templates within your own email tool without ever having to go into HubSpot. So everything that I'm showing you right now within HubSpot, you can actually do inside of Gmail or inside of Outlook or whatever tool you connected when you downloaded the extension, the sales extension. So just keep that in mind that this is what it looks like inside of HubSpot. But if you downloaded the tool already, the sales extension, then you'll actually be able to do exactly what I'm doing here within your own email tool. So just keep that in mind. It's a little bit easier and a little bit more natural when you're sending out emails. But in HubSpot, at least, when you're sending out the email, if you want to use your sequences or your templates, this is what it's going to look like for you. In this case, we already have our sequence set up, so we don't even have to set up a subject line or anything. We're just going to go ahead and click on sequences, and we'll choose the sequence that we just created, which was the inbound explained example. So what's really great is when you're setting up your sequence, HubSpot will actually give you one last chance to review everything that you have set up in your template and review any information that may be missing or that may be incorrect. So for example, maybe you have a contact's name and for some reason it's just a little bit wonky and their last name is appearing as their first name inside of HubSpot. You can go ahead and you can fix that, or maybe you see some incorrect spelling. You could go ahead and fix that. Maybe you want to be maybe in most cases you can refer to contacts as their first name, but for whatever reason, maybe this contact is a bit more formal and you need to refer to them as their last name for whatever reason. You can go ahead and make these small little changes in the individual sequence that you'll be sending out. So here I'm saying Miss Roberts instead of Shannon, or if you have any examples like that, maybe you met this lead at a conference, for example, you could say, "Hi Shannon, it was great meeting you at XYZ conference." So you can add in these small little personal details if you want. It's just a way that HubSpot gives you like one last chance to check everything over. If you can actually see, HubSpot is saying that there's missing information for this contact. So it's giving me a warning here. I don't have my company associated within this test account that I created. So HubSpot's just flagging it down and saying like, whoa, don't send this out just yet. You need to edit something here. So it's just a way to show that you have the option to do that as well. So let's just go ahead and delete that. And we'll just say, do you have time to talk about your company's goals? So there's just to know, you do have the option to make these small little changes here. You can review them in all of them. You can also see when the next email is going to be sent out. So the second email is going to be sent out at 9:43. Maybe in 3 days you actually have a holiday and maybe nobody's going to be in the office. You're like, oh, you know what? I know I said the sequence to send this out in 3 days, but in this specific scenario, I actually only want it to be sent out in 2 days because in 3 days we have a holiday. You can go ahead and edit that. HubSpot will give you a view of when everything will be sent out so you can see how that'll work as well. So just keep in mind you have a few different personalization options that you can do before you go ahead and send out the sequence. If everything looks good, you can go ahead and press start sequence, and the first email will go ahead and get sent out. So now you know that this sequence is starting and somebody's being enrolled in it. Also keep in mind that you can also send out individual templates as well. So maybe you just have one email you want to send out. You don't even actually want to send out a full sequence. You can also just choose to send out that one single template. Now keep in mind, if you only send out a template, so if you just click on the template here and only choose the template, just remember there will be no follow-up, or let's say there will be no automatic follow-up. Any follow-up you do will have to be done manually, but it's just good to know that you can also use templates in a way that's not meant for sequences, but just meant for you to be able to send out an individual email. So just another thing to keep in mind. And remember, you also have access to these tools if you download the sales extension. So you can also do these individually from your own email tool. So let's take a look at what it looks like when you actually want to send out a sequence to multiple contacts at the same time. The best way to do this is by go ahead and creating a list. This way you don't have to pull up every single contact's name within HubSpot or within your email tool. You can actually just start the process one time only, and then the sequence will go ahead and be sent out to all of your contacts within your list. So to get this started, you want to go into the list that you've already created. In this example, we just have a small list of 2 people, but your list can have much, much more than 2 people. Don't worry. And you want to just go ahead and select all the members of the list that you want to receive the email. Let's say receive the sequence. In this example, there's just we just have the 2. And you're going to go over here to where it says enroll in sequence, and then you're just going to want to choose the sequence that you'll be using. What will happen is, as you can see, the tool looks a little bit differently here, and you can actually go ahead and edit what the email is going to look like for each individual contact. So what's really great here is that HubSpot is letting us know that, hey, with those personalization tags that you set up earlier, there's some missing information. So you need to review that information before you send out the sequence. What you can do is, let's just go ahead and skip that. What you can do is you can take an overview of what the whole sequence looks like as a whole. You can't edit anything here because it's just showing you what the template looks like that you've already set up. However, because we have some missing information that we need to fix, if we just click directly into the contact, now you can see we have the options to edit that missing information. So HubSpot's telling me here, just like in our last example, the company name isn't there, so we can actually go ahead and erase the company name and add in XYZ just as an example, and put that in there. So it's really nice because, again, if you want anything to be personalized, or let's say, there's a contact that you've met before, or there's any interesting information like that, what's really great is you can go ahead and edit those individual emails without having to go into each person's contact. You can just go ahead and add in those small personalizations just this one time, and then you can still enroll all those contacts. So here, let's just go ahead and say Cyberclick. And yeah, it looks like everything looks good. There's nothing else I want to personalize. If you want, you can change the dates. But in our case, I think everything looks good to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and I will enroll all of my contacts. And there you have it. That's what it looks like if you want to enroll multiple contacts in the sequence that you created. This way is definitely much faster than having to do it manually. So I really encourage you to use the list tool in order to set up your sequences. Finally, the last thing I want to show you in this Sales Hub review is one final tool over here called Documents. Documents is a really interesting tool because what this allows you to do is if you're sending out documents that you have to contacts regularly. So let's say, for example, you have a deck that shows case studies of past clients, and let's say that you send this out to contacts regularly, or you have a document that explains the benefits of your product. You can actually go ahead and upload that document here into HubSpot. If you just upload document, it'll ask you where's the document coming from, and you can just go pull that up there. But what's great is once you've updated that document inside of here, whenever you create a template or whenever you create a sequence or an email that you're going to use and it contains that document, you're actually going to get analytics data on the document that you have created. So what will happen is HubSpot will create an individual link for that document where people can go ahead and view the document that you've sent. And then you're going to get some analytics data on the amount of views that the document has received and even what page people have gone into when they viewed the document. So in this case, this person went all the way up into page 7. So it just gives you a little bit more insight into the documents that you have here. So just wanted to review that tool as well. You can include documents in your templates and things like that. Finally, the last tool that I want to show you that will be really useful for you as you continue to use Sales Hub is the reports tool, and specifically dashboards. So whenever you enter into HubSpot, it looks a little bit something like this. When you enter into HubSpot, you immediately will see your dashboards, and you can actually customize the dashboards that you see within HubSpot to have information that is relevant to you. So dashboards is not just limited to sales tools. You can actually use dashboards with marketing tools as well. But it's definitely useful for marketing tools just so you can actually see the different deals that people are making or all the information that's interesting to you. So in order to create a dashboard, you just want to go over here to where it says create dashboard. Again, HubSpot is great because it gives you so many templates that you can use and so many different examples. In our case, we can just go and create a blank one just to show you what it looks like if you were to do it from scratch. Let's just go ahead and call this Inbound Explained Sales. And I'm actually going to make this dashboard private to me, but you have the option to do it for everyone, or if you only want specific members of your team to see it, you can do that as well. But I'm just going to go and create this one to be private. So once you've created the dashboard, you'll have different views. So we were just in the sales rep dashboard earlier, but now I want to go ahead and take a look at the Inbound Explained one. So you can do that up here on the left-hand side. But now we have to add reports to the dashboard. Again, you have options to create your own reports. If you already have reports that you created previously, you can just pull those up. If you want to create a new one, you can do that as well. In this case, the reports tool is a really, really big tool that could be its own video. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and grab some pre-made reports that HubSpot has already created for us. The great thing here is that you have a lot of different options that you can filter from. In our case, let's just look at the sales activity reports because those are the ones that are going to be the most interesting to us right now. And let's do the deal created goal report. And we're just going to add that into our existing Inbound Explained dashboard. And let's just go ahead and take a look at what it looks like here. So as you begin to add different reports into your dashboard, you'll be able to see it here. You can customize the view. So if you want this to look this way, you can have it be super wide, or if you want it to be, just about a square, you can do that. You have a lot of different options. If you want it only to take up one square, you can do that. It just depends on all the different reports that you're going to be making. And you have a few different filtering options within the report itself. So if you want to look at the date range of over a month or over a year, you can edit all of that here as well. Again, this is a really, really big tool and one that could be its own video. So if that's something you're interested, definitely let us know and we can review the reports tool. I just wanted to highlight it just to show you that this is another tool that will definitely be useful for you as you begin to start using Sales Hub.
If you want to watch more HubSpot tutorials, go ahead and click on the playlist on the screen right now. And in the description box below, you can find a link for a free trial to HubSpot, or if you need help setting up your HubSpot, you can get into contact with us by clicking the link below.